Hello and welcome to Black Minds Matter. My name is Paul Dauphin. I am sitting in for Denisha Merriweather, founder of Black Minds Matter. And joining us today is Tiffany Ford, the Childcare Guru. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
And Tiffany, you are the owner of Little Leaders Learning Academy, you're co-owner of Stages Community School, and the founder of Leaders and Legends Performing Arts Academy, all located in Philadelphia. So
That is
glad
right.
to have Philly in Black Minds Matter.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be a part. I love it. I'm just excited. So yes, thank you again for having me.
So tell us, what brought you into the field of education?
Ooh, yes. So education has always been a passion of mine. I was raised by an educator. My mother is an educator. So she was absolutely a big influence on my choice to work with in the education field with children. I just watched the impact that she was able to have with her students. She primarily worked in the inner city school system as well. Actually, most all of her career. And I was always really, really intrigued by how just one person could really, really, really make a difference in the lives of children. And I wanted to pretty much pursue that same gift and that same passion. And I realized, as I got older, that I kind of took that on. I had that passion as well. And it wasn't just because I saw my mom, but it was naturally and genuinely there. So that's really what brought me to education. My mom. I watched her and the way she worked with her students.
And I love that you're known as the Child Care Guru. What's the
Yeah.
story behind the name? How'd that come about?
Yeah, so I started in 2011 in childcare, and I was really, I mean, honestly, had no background in childcare as far as the administrative side. I definitely had experience in the education side. I even worked in childcare facilities prior to opening my own, but I never had administrative training. So I literally started from the ground up, researching, developing myself, training myself on how to effectively run a childcare facility. Okay. So once I got started, I realized that I had a gift, I had a passion. I really understood it and I took it seriously. So after year five, I had grown at that point to at least I had three facilities after year five, and they all are Little Leaders Learning Academy, but three different locations. I had a lot of people asking me, hey, I want to get started, how do I get started, what can I do? And I'm like, okay, I'm just giving the information away and I'm letting them know because I honestly, I believe that each one teach one. I truly believe that, somebody helped me. So it's my responsibility to help someone else. So I took that seriously and people just kept coming, asking me to help them grow their programs, the administrative side, the educational curriculum piece, as well as the marketing piece. And with that being said, I became known as the Child Care Guru. I have myself opened at least six facilities. That's just for myself. But outside of myself, I have helped over 20 to 30 people open their centers and get them up and running in the city of Philadelphia.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
something. Now, what's your, as a school founder, what's your hope for your students, and I guess ultimately for the family, since
Oh, wow.
these are really young kids.
Absolutely. I'll start with the families first. For me, the most important thing is that parents understand that they are their children's biggest advocate. So, as an educator, my goal is not only to work with the child, it's to work with the family as well and to understand all of the ins and outs and intricacies of their family because I know that, that is the same thing that is going to help those children grow within the classroom setting. So the parents have to understand, while we're working with the children at home, I mean, at school, you too have to work with them at home and you have to advocate for your children. So that is something that I'm teaching parents from day one when they walk into my facility. And for the children, my hope is just for them to know that just because you live here doesn't mean you can't go anywhere that you want to in this world. You can be anything that you want to be. You can do anything that you want to do as long as you stay focused, you keep your mind on your eyes on the prize, and you have a strong support system and a strong network. So again, we're starting that and cultivating that at a young age. It doesn't have to happen when they're teenagers. It can happen right now. The community that we have built, we have taught our children how to work within this community, how to rely on their community to help them when times are rough, and it's working. It really is. It's really a culture. My school has culture. You know what I mean? And I would love for them to understand that that culture can carry out to the places that they're going to go after they leave me.
Well, one of the things we want to do with Black Minds Matter is help those entrepreneurs, those educators be able to open up their own schools. So this is
Absolutely.
advice time.
Okay.
How do you identify staff? What's that process like, especially when you were
Yes.
first getting started?
Oh, wow. When I was first getting started, to be honest, I worked with people that I knew had the same passion that I had, um, people that I knew what their background was, people I trusted, honestly. When you're working in childcare, your staff can make or break you. They truly can be the key to your success, or they can be the key to your failure. So it's really important that you take time and you invest in your staff. Now that I've been doing this for a couple years, or 12, 13 years now, I don't really hire people that I know anymore. And the reason for that is I've just found it easier along the road to work with people that really genuinely want to be developed, whether they know you or not, and they want to be mentored. So my staffing process consists of three parts. It consists of the first part, me doing a phone interview, making sure that this person may be a good fit for our school, asking those key questions that I need to know to make sure that they understand what I'm looking for. Um, then I'll have them come in and we'll do a face-to-face interview. I get to feel them out a little bit more. And then the third part is them actually coming in and working with the children and seeing how they engage with the children. Because it's one thing to say that this is what you can do, but it's another thing for me to actually see it. So yes, and that with that, I have three parts to my interview. And it's important to
And
take each one of those seriously.
and then once you have the students and going back again to, I guess, that first school, you have the staff.
Absolutely.
Where do you find the students? And I know you mentioned earlier
Mhm.
marketing, so I'm sure that's a huge
Oh,
part
yes.
of it.
Marketing
So
is a
in the
huge
beginning,
part.
did you have a marketing budget?
I did not. In the beginning, I did not. So I started, well, first of all, in the beginning, I started out of my home. So because I was doing social work, I was also doing childcare in the evenings. So honestly, I was the only provider in my neighborhood that was providing evening care. So the children kind of just came because there were parents that had that need. So if you're looking to start a new school or looking to open a childcare facility, try to find a niche that is untapped. And that's what I did. I found an untapped niche, which was evening care, overnight care, and that worked for me. Once it became too much, I then moved to a building and relocated to my first building, and then I did daycare. So I already built clientele from my home that transferred over to my daycare. The biggest part in enrollment is word of mouth. Word of mouth is always going to be your key enrollment source. I don't care in what business you go to, whether it's daycare, whether it's hair school, hairstyling, whether it's contracting, word of mouth is always going to be key. Once word of mouth is exhausted, the next thing that I always do is I find leads. I ask people, do you know anyone that needs childcare? And I create a list of all my leads and I reach out to them. Sometimes we're so adamant about people coming to us. No, you got to go to the people. So I actually put time in and I find out who's interested and I go to them and I introduce myself. And if they're not interested right then and there, then they may not be interested right then, but later on, you don't know, they might come back. And 9 times out of 10, if you made a strong impression, they're going to come back or they're going to send somebody your way. and now, of course, with social media, we have the whole social media thing. So it's not just about, posting what your children are doing. It's not that. Posting is great. People like to see what you're doing, but really it's about still making that connection with your followers. So making sure that you're getting an email list from your posts, making sure you're actually keeping up with your list so that you can reach out to them when you're ready for them and not when they're ready for you.
Fantastic. How would you describe to, you're in the elevator giving the elevator talk to somebody who,
Oh,
you strike up a conversation
yeah.
and they find out you're the child care guru.
Yes.
How would you describe the learning environment at Little Leaders Learning to
Oh,
them?
wow. Absolutely. I am a stickler for learning through play. And I know that that is a term that, and I'm going to be completely honest, in our Black community, is a lot of parents don't necessarily want to hear that my child's going to be playing all day. But at Little Leaders, I'm going to say that we are a school that emphasizes that children are learning from their environments and the things around them versus learning from rote memorization, versus learning from just sitting still and being in large group settings. No, we are absolutely a hands on facility where we're taking every opportunity to educate our students in that moment.
And what are some of the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis? And
Mm,
I'm sure some of these challenges are challenges that all school people who run schools have, but then you probably have some that are unique to your age group and
yeah.
unique to Philly.
Absolutely. I guess I'll start with the children first. Sometimes the biggest challenge with the children is trust. When you're caring for children, it's really important that you're gaining their trust. I don't care if they're an infant or they're 17 years old, you have to gain their trust. And sometimes, because of the demographics of our children and the situations that some of them live in, trust is a hard thing to get. So we have to really go above and beyond to make these children aware that we are here to support you. We're working with you. We're working for you. We want to see you grow and thrive. And once we've earned that trust with our students, we've won. We've won. So, the problem with that is sometimes staff have to understand that as well. So training staff is a key piece in understanding that, listen, I notice this is what you do outside of daycare or outside of here, but with these children, we have to interact with these children in this way. So consistency across, keep creating consistency is definitely another challenge, because the more you grow in this business, the more people are going to have to work with you, and you have to make sure that every single person has the mindset that you, the owner, have, and it can be very difficult. So it's definitely a thing of management and making sure that communication is clear.
So tell us what motivates Tiffany Ford on a
Mm.
day-to-day basis.
On a day-to-day basis, my daughter. My daughter motivates me. I have one child. She's 13 now. I started this when I got pregnant with her. So just to see her watch this journey, and not even her, believe it or not, her friends as well, to see them watch this journey and say, Miss Tiff, we could do what you do. We want to come work at the center. Like, that is such a motivation to me, because I see that my mindset and the way I'm moving is really impacting them, on a personal level, in school, in family, and every person. And I'm not making this up, but I promise this method works, because every child that has come into my life, the parent always says, wow, I have seen what you've done with her, and I thank you. You know what I mean? So that alone is my motivation. Watching my daughter, watching her friends, watching the other students that I work with, watching them grow. Today, it's so funny. I was at school, I was at the daycare today, and I can't go every day anymore, but today I was able to go. And one of my students, she was in the backyard and she was playing. Now, I have an arts program as well. So some of my students from the daycare also go to the arts program. This child has never been introduced to the arts before. She now takes dance classes. And I saw her in the backyard and she's standing in fifth position, just standing there. And I'm like, wow, like, this is really sticking with them. So I'm doing something right. And that, just seeing that in the children, just saying, wow, I know that I had a part in that, is what keeps me going.
All right. Now it's advice time.
Yes.
what advice would you give to other people who would like to launch a school? What would be the best advice you could give them?
Hmm. If it is not your passion, do not do it. If you're doing this for money, do not do it. Childcare is a passion based industry. Yes, you can turn a passion into paycheck. Into a paycheck. But the key is it really has to be a passion of yours. It has to be something that you are willing to put your all into. You have to have that stick to itness with this because it is not an easy field. And the only thing that's going to motivate you at times is your passion, is the passion that you have for this field.
We all have experiences, and when we do something like this, over the years, and you've been doing this for a few years now,
Yeah, yeah.
is there a student or family that stands out to you that you've positively impacted, that when times get tough, you think about, I helped that person? Any
Yeah.
story that sticks out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have actually have a mom that was enrolled in my facility, and she was just going through such a hard time. I think she had quite a few children. She was a single mother. Finances were difficult. Just the typical, inner city story. Like she just didn't have the resources, didn't have the means, and she was to the point where she just did not have the support, and she was really ready to tell her children, listen, I have to put you up for adoption. I can't do this. This is not this is not what I'm able to do right now. She loved her children genuinely, but she genuinely was frustrated with her situation. It wasn't that she couldn't, she was just overwhelmed. She had some mental health issues, was not being treated. And I sat down with the mom and I said, listen, I see that you're overwhelmed. Allow us to help you. And this was clearly a mother that did not trust. She had been, had people had maybe broken her trust in the past. But once I had that conversation and let her know that, listen, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to make a to ridicule you for anything that you're going through. We are genuinely here to help you. She let her guard down and she began to vent to us and talk to us about some of the things she had been to. I was able to refer this parent with the appropriate, or connect her with the appropriate mental health treatment. She's now currently, even still, receiving treatment on a regular basis. She received her proper diagnosis in her mental health so that now she can actually cope and understand the coping mechanisms that she needs to make it and ultimately be a better mother to her children. This is a mother who wasn't spending time with her children because she was overwhelmed. This is a mother who didn't have her children in programming. These children are now involved in extracurricular programs. They're thriving in school. And I know that our conversation had to do with that. And every time that I'm feeling like this is a lot and I'm overwhelmed, I do remember situations like that. And people even around me, they remind me, Tiffany, no, you can't stop. This is your thing. They need you. You can't leave. So I'm always reminded by those type of situations.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You have a book or a resource or something that can be helpful for people uh, trying to form a school? What could you point them to?
Absolutely. The first thing that I would do is say, whatever state you're in, I'm in Pennsylvania, but if you're in New Jersey, if you're in Delaware, wherever you are, whatever state you are, you want to reach out to your office, your licensing office for childcare, and you want to ask them to see their regulations. In my state, it's called the Childcare Regulation Handbook, but it may be called something else in your state. But regardless, you're always going to reach out to your licensing office for childcare and ask for the regulations. Those regulations are going to tell you exactly what the expectation is for a childcare provider. Um, I would also say begin doing research, not one book in particular, but finding literature about management, about leadership, because the most successful childcare facilities have strong leadership and strong management. So those two things alone, researching about leadership and management and understanding the regulations in your state, that is where you should start.
All right, Tiffany, we're going to close it out on this. Through this experience, what's the thing that has most surprised you, that when you started, you would have never thought this was going to happen?
I would have never ever thought that I would have 34 staff working under me. Um, I started with just myself. I literally have a staff of 34 people and it's growing. And it's growing every single day. And I'm not, that it it blows me away every day. It blows me away. I thought that being a childcare provider meant you had to be with the children every day and you had to be in the facility and you had to be hands on and you're sitting here, doing arts and crafts with the children. But no, that's not my role at all anymore. I'm project manager. I'm directing all my projects. I'm making sure everything is getting completed and I'm overseeing staff at this point. So that is like, it's like crazy to me.
Tiffany Ford, the
Yeah.
Childcare Guru, thank you so much for
No
joining us.
problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank